Hello, in this episode we are going to set up Apollo server for our social media platform. So let's jump straight to it. So first we initialize our project, our Node.js project. By the way, PN stands for pnpm. That's my alias that I set up. So don't be confused when you see PN. Exactly. So package.json. Then we want to create source directory. We want to create inside of our source directory our index.ts, so the first file that is going to be executed. So yeah, let's install Apollo server, which is here, and GraphQL as well, because we both need so Apollo server, obviously you want to set up an Apollo server, and GraphQL need to be installed as well. So let's install them first. Of course, we also want to set up TypeScript. So let's add tsconfig, and here we want to use a nice package for Node, for Node 18, because I'm using Node 18. We can also write here engine, the Node version that I use on my machine. I believe it's 18.15.0. Yes, so that is correct. And we can also say we're using pnpm 861. And this package provides a basic configuration, TypeScript configuration for Node.js environment for version 18. So that is why we are installing it. It's just a best practice to install this package. Then you don't need to configure a lot of things, configuration on your own. It already provides you a nice configuration for Node.js 18. So let's take advantage of this. Now we have basic TypeScript configuration as well. Let me quickly define the scripts. So we have a compile script, TypeScript. We have a start script, which first compiles the app and then starts it, and the output file will going to be dist and index.js. Let me define also the alt directory, which we said is dist. Comma is missing. Alright, let's go to Apollo server documentation and let's copy paste the packages that we want to use. So from Apollo server, we're going to implement Apollo server instance, and we are going to implement from this Apollo server standalone start standalone server. And this function starts the server. Basically, there are a few ways to set up your Apollo server, and this is one of it. So yeah, you can explore other options as well, but we are going to use this particular function in our case. All right, let's also copy paste this sample, like the stuff that they wrote here. So this is those are the type definitions. This is a data source. This is basically it manipulates like a database. Basically, it is right now in you can think of this as a database basically. So and now we need to define the resolvers. And finally, we are going to instantiating the server instance here, and run start standalone server, passing server side as the first argument, second argument server options. So let me quickly start it. it says command not found, of course, because we didn't install TypeScript, and also we need types for nodes, and the version that I specify is again 18 that I use for my project. And also one more thing, of course it won't gonna work because await is actually not inside of a function. It needs to be either inside of the function, or we can convert this code to again then, and say here URL, and instead of defining URL here, we are defining inside of the then as a then argument. And now if we start, it is basically running, and if we click on the link, we are going to be directed here. And yeah, then we can basically query books, and we get the data back from the server, which is working nicely. So now that the server is running and we are able to run the server, I want to basically replace this type definitions. Instead of writing them in a variable, in a string, we want to have them in a GraphQL specific file, right? That means you would have something like GraphQL file, you would have a schema, for example, and then you would have the types inside of the schema like this. And what we also want to have are the TypeScript types. We want to convert GraphQL schema or GraphQL types into TypeScript types, and for that code generation tool is going to help us. And we can also generate resolver types with this kind of code generation tool. So there is this nice tool that exists, which is called GraphQL code generator. And if you go to the documentation, to docs here, and then go down to guides, Apollo Server GraphQL Yoga with server preset. This guide helps you how to set up your GraphQL code generator with the presets. And this preset library is this one here, ed888 GCG TypeScript resolver files. And what you also can try out is this guide here. This is only basically set up for Apollo server without the preset library. And the cool thing about preset library is that it gives you a nice structure how to define your schemas and GraphQL files, and basically also creates resolvers for you already, but you need to obviously implement the implementation of it. So it only gives you like nice structure types, and it's really fun to work with. You're gonna see why. So we first of all need to install this library here, and also let's go to jump to the installation first. We have GraphQL, we have TypeScript already, and now we want to also have this library because that's the base client library for GraphQL code generator. We are adding it. We are going to add this as a development dependency. And what we also want to add is this package here, which is preset. And by the way, this package also contains two other packages, which is called, under the hood, this package uses GraphQL code and TypeScript and TypeScript resolvers. And those underlying packages are the packages that are actually you'll actually get like advantage of, because this library only gives you like this the nice structure, like folder structure, and it exactly knows where to look for schemas and where to also generate your resolvers. And yeah, I just want to mention that. If you go, for example, to Apollo server without preset, you need to install these two libraries here, TypeScript resolvers and TypeScript. So, and this one is already, since this already contains the packages here that we need to install for TypeScript and TypeScript resolvers type generation, we only basically want to use this because it again uses those two packages under the hood. Let's install this package as a development dependency. Alright, the package has been installed. If we go back, we want to create the basic setup for schema modules. So inside of the source directory, we need to create a schema directory. Let's do that. Make directory schema. Then we need to create base. Let's do that. Schema base, and also user, and also book. Okay, then we need to create, the structure looks as following. You have base, so in each schema directory you have a schema GraphQL file inside of it. So let's create those. Touch schema GraphQL schema GraphQL and schema GraphQL. Nice. And now we can start working and copy pasting here. Base schema needs to have this type, query, and mutation. Then in user we are extending type query and defining a user query and defining a type of user. And inside of the book we have book with a mutation with a query again, also extending the mutation type, defining a book type, and then we already installed the preset and the library and the GraphQL code gen client, CLI, not client. It stands for command line. Command line interface. Yeah. Configure codegen config. Create or update your codegen config as follows. So we need a codegen file, and let's use a YAML file for this. Codegen YAML, and let's copy paste this here. We are saying that schema pattern means so it schema this basically means everything, like look inside of every folder and give me all the files with the name of schema that are type of GraphQL file, and all generate me inside of source/schema. So here generate with using this preset, and watch patterns is if we have any mapper. So this is maybe right now not I can explain in a new tutorial what this means, but yeah, for now you have a preset, and this goes basically scans your source directory and looks where the schema GraphQL files are, and basically generates TypeScript types based on the content that you provide in your GraphQL file. So let's basically generate now, and for that we need to execute this. But firstly, let me define a script for GraphQL code generation. We are going to package.json, and we can name the script generate. I can't spell. And here you'll say GraphQL codegen, and this is going to execute the GraphQL codegen command and eventually create your resolvers and create types. Alright, now watch closely what will happen if I run pnpm generate. It generates parse configuration and generates output. Then it created at the book level resolvers, and in resolvers you have one mutation folder, which is, if we go to schema, which is one mutation, mark book as read here. Oh, we need to, it is not formatted. Let me quickly set up Prettier. For that, we are going to install Prettier as a development dependency. We are going to configure my ID to run Prettier on save. Oh, okay, it auto detected the package. So now let's configure this. And now if we save, it's going to auto format. And now it basically complains because if you go to schema, you see there is a book type that is going to as a return type for mark book as read. So we need to import. So basically you need to implement this resolver on your own. But the cool thing is that this tool generated the resolver for you, but you need to implement this on your own. That's the trick. We don't need type name and true. Alright, complaints here. Let's say what it says. Type boolean is not assignable to type string. Because ISBN or ESPN, I don't know what that means. It's a string and not a boolean. So if we do this, it stopped complaining. So as you can see, it generated this nice resolver from this mutation. If you look in queries, you can see we have a book query that has to be formatted as well. And if we start implementing it, and here whatever you want, you can just have a database queries implemented, and yeah, whatever you like basically. So this is basically how it works with this tool. It's pretty nice. Let's also fix the user's query because it needs to be implemented, this resolver. If we go here, return, okay, return ID, we have is admin, let's say it's true, and full name, whatever, string, and it stopped complaining. Let's see why it's complaining. Okay, type definitions, we don't have those. Type definitions, we are this nice tool also generates type definition for us here, as you can see. And this you import to feed your server. Boom. Schema type definitions. You import this, and now it basically, yeah, accepted it. Resolvers are not this resolvers, and we can also delete the data source. Are also generated in schema resolvers generated file TypeScript. Boom, nice. Now it complains because the context is declared here. Okay, I think we need to pass the generic type, which is context here. That's why it complained. We need to basically type the context type for Apollo server in Apollo server options. That's why it's complained, but now it works. And if I now start, boom, it is running. Click on the link, and we don't have books anymore. We have book ID is BN, or I don't know how to pronounce it, ISBN. And if you run books, boom, you have error. Book ID is not nullable because we need to we need to pass the book ID here, and this can be 1, or is it a string? Yeah, I think it's a string. So books, and as you can see, this query was resolved by this query resolver here, book, and we are implementing or said that it returns empty strings for both ID and ISBN. So it worked, as you can see. And this is a nice tool to really scale your project and really like add queries, mutations really fast and really reliable, and also generate TypeScript types, resolver types, and it's basically really fun to work with this tool. And I would also encourage you to use it for GraphQL, for your GraphQL projects if you use either Yoga or Apollo server. Exactly. I think that's it for a basic setup. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please write a comment, and also if you have any suggestions on further videos, just let me know, and I'm gonna do the videos. Thank you guys. Have a nice day, night, morning. See you.